Hello, this is Margarita Monet from Edge of Paradise, and you are listening to the Metal Pit Podcast.
Welcome to the Metal Pit Podcast. I am your host, Blake, and today we have a special episode. This is episode 40 this year, and this is our last episode of season 1 of the Metal Pit Podcast. This is our today, Halloween. Since it's Halloween today, we're doing this in the afternoon because I know these two that are with me. Oh, sorry, my guests are Stacia. Hi, Stacia.
Hello.
And Jim is with me too.
Hey, guys.
Anyway, so I wanted to do this in the afternoon because I know they have to go trick-or-treating tonight.
Definitely.
Or they have to hand out candy or something like that. Anyway. So anyway, so yes.
I can still trick-or-treat.
Yes, you do. That's right.
And I'm immature enough that I can trick-or-treat.
Actually, I might as well ask that question now then. What was do you have a favorite costume you wore as a kid when you went trick-or-treating? Stacia, start with you. Do you have something that you really loved wearing?
You know what? I do. This is going to sound ridiculous. So I'll open by saying this was a child's version. So when I was a kid, my mom and I were obsessed with Elvira. I loved Mistress of the Dark. I loved any Elvira content. So I was really excited in grade 4 to get an Elvira costume. It wasn't like the deep V. It was just like a high necked, like little black dress with the wig. But I remember being in grade 4 and the teacher making everybody go up to talk about their costume, and no one knew what the fuck I was. And I was trying to explain Elvira to the class, and everybody was like, I don't understand. And I'm trying to find a way to be like, she's like really pretty and she hosts all these horror things on late night TV, and they were just like, I don't get it. But I do look back on it as being ahead of my time, so that is my favorite.
I love Elvira.
Who doesn't love Elvira?
Oh, Elvira's awesome.
Right? I don't want to meet somebody who doesn't like Elvira. That says more about them.
Exactly.
Okay, Jim, what about you? Do you have any favorite childhood memory of a costume you wore or something?
Yeah, it was pretty predictable. From like late 1970s, it was Darth Vader. Right up until I think I was 25. No, I'm just kidding. I wasn't 25. but yeah, it was Darth Vader. I mean, I had the mask. My mother made the cape. I just wore black clothing, and then we would go out on our bikes. I lived in a more rural area, so we would bike probably 1 or 2 kilometers, stash our bikes in the woods, and have pillowcases, and then hit the only subdivision that was there with like 100 houses, and we would just bike back with these sacks and sacks of candy and chips. It was awesome.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Picturesque Halloween.
Yes.
Well, for me, we didn't have a lot of money in my family, so we didn't spend much money on costumes, but I only really remember 1 year that I wore some cheap Spider-Man costume that had a plastic mask or whatever. Not like the mask you can buy now at the Halloween stores, but just a cheap thing. But I do remember going out with my older brother. He was like 6 years older than me, and we went with one of his friends, and we get to this one house, and the lady goes, "Are you the kids soaping my windows?" And we said no. And then I said, "Hey, I do smell soap." And then my brother's friend whispered to me, "Shut up." So I guess he had some, but I don't think we did their house. And I don't remember us doing any houses, but maybe they did it before I got there or something. I don't know.
And you were just being a total narc about it.
Yeah.
I was a goody. I didn't do anything bad. So I'm like, I do smell soap. So it's probably Walker right beside me. So anyway, so this is the 3rd year anniversary of the current version of the Metal Pit. I guess I forgot to give us our information. Check us out on our website, www.themetalpit.org, and on our Facebook and Instagram at The Metal Pit, and visit our YouTube channel, at youtube.com at the Metal Pit 666. And if you want to send us an email with suggestions or album suggestions or whatever, email us at info@themetalpit.org. We just recently got our first fan mail, I guess you want to call it that, as Paul from Australia sent us a message complimenting us on the podcast, and he gave a suggestion for a top 10 list where we should do top 10 album covers, which is a great idea, and we'll try to do that sometime. And
Wicked.
I'm going to throw in Tomb of the Mutilated Cannibal Corpse.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's got to be in the top 2. Yeah, that's
seriously.
He said in his message you could probably do one on Iron Maiden albums, and then you could probably do one on just Cannibal Corpse albums. You could just rank Cannibal Corpse. So I guess if we do we haven't done a Cannibal Corpse album yet, have we, Stacia? You're going to do one with somebody.
Yeah, my friend Pepper, he's so busy, especially around this season. Him and his friend are Guinness record holders, and they just travel all over the place doing stunts and putting shark hooks into them and pulling cars with them and snapping mouse traps on their tongues. None of those are a joke, by the way. That's all true.
Really? Wow.
Yes. Yeah. But
if you do a Cannibal Corpse episode, you could probably do the top 10 Cannibal Corpse album covers for yourselves or something like that, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's 16 albums now, so we just have to cut the 6 with the covers we don't like.
So I'll do that suggestion sometime anyway soon. So thanks, Paul, for emailing us and saying how much you love us. Okay, now we've already did the Halloween thing. Okay, so like I said, it's the 3rd year anniversary of this version of the Metal Pit. I'm just going to give a little brief kind of a bio of the Metal Pit. First I want to say, so we're releasing this episode Halloween night. This is both your first year, you, Stacia, and Jim. This is your first year on the Metal Pit. You joined, let's see, Stacia, you said March, and then Jim was in May. So how are you guys liking being on the Metal Pit? Stacia?
Oh, I think it's great. It's super fun. And it also makes all the stupid knowledge I have feel useful, which is fantastic. Sometimes I just want to wax on about, I don't know, the top 50 Venom facts, and now I have an excuse. Now it's productive work. Now it's art.
And Jim, how about you?
I mean, it's been great. I mean, everybody here has been super welcoming, and it's been awesome. And just to be included is really cool. It's a lot of fun. And like Stacia says, for freaks like us, this is like a safe home spot. So everybody out there, I mean, this is what everybody needs to attach themselves to for sure, because it's so cool. You can talk about all the cool stuff that you listen to, and hey, nobody judges. It's awesome.
It's true.
Yeah, and I think I got 15 writers now. I think I'm kind of lose track of the numbers here, but I think I have 15 writers now of the Metal Pit. So I'm just going to give a brief history lesson here on the Metal Pit. I am vague on some of the years because I'm not young anymore and the whatever, but it's probably been around 25 years on and off that I have been a part of a heavy metal website in some way. My first page is by myself, writing album reviews on my own page. I called it Thingy's Metal Reviews or Thingy's Album Reviews, and that was on GeoCities, which Stacia mentioned in her one video for us. If anyone remembers GeoCities. Now, I can't remember how long I did that for, but I know my first work on a website with a team was when I met my friend Jody Sandberg. We met online in the year 2000 and decided to put a team up to do a site, but we only had me and her doing the writing, and one of her friends created the website and did all that stuff, so we didn't have to do that. And I think it was just called The Pit back then. And it was just me and her, as I said. Unfortunately, in the year 2011, Jody went into a diabetic coma and remained that way for 4 years till her body couldn't fight anymore. And she passed away in the year 2015. During that time, the site, I changed the name to the Metal Pit, or I might have stopped and then restarted it again in her honor or whatever. So I called it the Metal Pit, as I did see there was another magazine called The Pit Magazine or something. So I didn't want to be the same name. So I changed it to the Metal Pit. And then I would find other metal-minded people like these two here, and have a site and do what we're doing now, except now we're at the biggest we've ever been. The Metal Pit is the biggest it's ever been. But I really don't think the Metal Pit would exist if it wasn't for me meeting my friend Jody, because even though I did do that thing by myself first, I don't think I ever would have did anything else with it. But since I met her and she was into doing it, that's really how it started. So I don't really think the Metal Pit would exist without her being in my life for the years that she was. And I'm going to mention her again at the end of the episode, but we'll get to that later. So we're going to get into, I guess I haven't even mentioned this yet. We're doing our top 50 album list. I had all of my writers that wanted to contribute gave me their top 50 metal, or I'll say hard rock metal albums of all time. Just I don't want to get into the debate about they're not heavy metal or whatever, but you know, if there's some old bands, like I'm not going to mention the names, I'll wait to a list, but you know, they're the roots of heavy metal, I guess. So that's why they're included. And a lot of us are older on this site. So of course we've been around and heard those things. So I'm going to ask you two guys, how hard was it to make up a top 50 list? Jim, how hard was it to do that?
Again, like every episode we do, it's hard to come up with the top 20s, top 10s, and top 50 was just as bad. And I mean, like I said, naming my children were easier than this. I put more thought into this. So, you know, and that's the truth. And I mean, I battled with it. I think it took me 5 weeks to get this completed, and I'm still now I'm getting a hint of what other people might have put there, and obviously got to know a lot of people on here and their likes, and there's a lot of stuff on there I think I forgot. So I think I kind of suck. So
And Stacia, how was it? Top 50 list.
That's exactly it. Like, couldn't have said it better. You know, you'll finish it and then it'll be a week later and you're like, son of a bitch, I forgot one of my favorite albums. Like, I went through 50. How did I forget this album? When I was doing it, I do the same thing when I'm trying to do, you know, the top 10 songs at the end of our you know, other podcasts. And I always try to tell myself, like, Stacia, this isn't going to be on your tombstone. It's fine. Just like relax and make a list. But yeah, this one was definitely particularly difficult because I'm just like, what am I forgetting? Because it's going to be so much. But whatever, yeah. I landed where I landed.
That's right.
Yes, I also agree with both of you that yeah, I did my top 50. I did mine first, so I had a starting point for when people would start sending me theirs. And you know, we all have groups on ours that aren't on anybody else's list. And we have maybe the same group, but a different album that's on other lists. And yeah, a week later, I'll listen to something and I'll go, shit, I forgot to put them on my list. But it's like, I already made the list. Like Stacia said, it's not going on our tombstones. Well, maybe mine will, but
you'll need a pretty big tombstone.
And it's funny, that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to do this. If I die next week, I want people to know that they can come to the website, and because I'll make a page up too, and they go, well, there's Blake's top 50 albums of all time, but he's dead, but at least we can see what he liked.
We'll need to crowdfund some kind of metal mausoleum.
Oh, that would be wicked.
It's true. Yes. Can I get in on that, actually?
Yeah.
Yes. So at the end, so we have, I think 15 writers. I maybe only have 14 people that gave me. A few people didn't do the list. I got 12 lists, so I got 12 top 50 lists, and that's how I compiled our top 50 group list or whatever. So I scored everything, but I'm not going to get into all that shit. But I do have every writer's top album, so we will mention that at the end. I will do that since I had to wait for a couple people to give me the number one today, because people take their time to do things. So I'm going to let Jim do number 50 to number 41. So Jim, let's start.
So excited.
Okay, well, yeah, this is great. And it's cool. This is so cool. So number 50 is Sepultura, Arise from 1991, their fourth studio album. And this, I'm gonna mention if it was in my top 50. I'm just not gonna say where. So yes, this was in my top 50. Number 49, one of my favorite albums. I just gush when I see these. Merciful Fate, Melissa, 1983. I mean, what this was in my top 50 as well. So I mean that friggin' amazing album.
That album's
48.
perfect. I love that album.
I love King Diamond. I love Merciful Fate. Some of my favorite stuff, and I've got many of them on my top 50. 48, Sabotage, Gutter Ballet. Great album. Probably a lot of people would say this is probably their top album from 1989, their fifth studio album. I like a lot of their later stuff too. 47, Exodus, Fabulous Disaster, 1989. I mean, I didn't have any Exodus, and that's what pisses me off, because I'm like looking at it now and I'm saying, why didn't I put Exodus on here? But I don't know. Anyways, I didn't, so it's on here. 46, Nuclear Assault, Handle with Care, Wicked Band, 1989, their third studio album. That's a great album. Number 45, Ozzy with Blizzard of Oz, 1980, his debut. That's in my top 50.
I'm actually wait. I'm actually surprised that was so low. Actually, I thought that'd be higher, but anyway, go ahead.
I also love
there's a
Blizzard
couple
of
on
Oz.
here. Yeah, there's a couple on here that I was kind of shocked. 44, another Exodus album, Bonded by Blood, which is actually my favorite Exodus album. And again, I didn't have it on my top 50. So again, I kind of suck. But you had that one? 1985, yep. Their debut. Number 43, this is one I totally forgot about. And Wasp, 1984 debut album. It's one of my favorite albums. Never put it in my top 50 though. I totally spaced out when it came to some of these. And the next one, 42, Death, Spiritual Healing. What an amazing album. I have no Death albums on my top 50. I'm shocked. And I've been ordering all the CDs with the bonus material over the last couple of weeks. So it's like, I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. And number 41, Metal Church, their debut album, which is phenomenal as well. Yeah.
That's 100% in my top 50. I think that album is another all killer, no filler album.
Yeah.
Metal Church is amazing.
I was surprised because that one's in my list too, Metal Church. And I was actually surprised that a few other people had it in there and that it did make our list. So that's cool. Yes. So now we're to number.
If you were to go into my car right now, I'm pretty sure that's the CD that is currently in my car.
Oh, that's cool.
I do love, I love the first two Metal Church albums the best, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah.
Also, man, you heard it here first, folks. The Metal Pit, we love Exodus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Okay, now Stacia's going to do number 40 to 31. Did I do that right? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm excited to hear this.
This is really fun. All right, so number 40, of course, we've got Zeppelin 4, their fourth studio album, 1971. I was definitely waiting for some Zeppelin to get in here. And 39, Ozzy Osbourne, No Rest for the Wicked. So that's their fifth studio album, came out in 1988. I do love this album. I have a real soft spot for Blizzard of Oz, though, I will say.
Yeah, I'm surprised that No Rest for the Wicked is higher than Blizzard of Oz, actually, even though I do like that album too. But
I like a lot of Ozzy's solo material, but yeah, Blizzard of Oz, I don't know. But I have a real nostalgic attachment to Blizzard of Oz.
Yeah.
So 38, Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime from 2003, their third studio album. Okay, number 37, definitely one of my favorite albums of all time. Iron Maiden's Killers, their second studio album, 1981. I am a Di'Anno era person. I love Dickinson, but those first two albums, I am a sucker for those first two albums.
Yes.
Yes. Number 36, the debut album from Black Sabbath, 1970, a classic. Where would we be without it? I don't even want to know.
You're right. Can you imagine no Black Sabbath?
No,
yeah.
I don't want to live in that world.
Exactly.
Number 35, Manowar, Kings of Metal, Real Life Spinal Tap. That's 1988, their sixth studio album. I do love it. That could have just as easily been in my car, to be honest. I also have that in my regular rotation. I don't know if they made my top 50. It might have, but it's definitely one of the CDs I listen to in my car a lot. Number 34, we actually have my favorite Black Sabbath album, which is Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, their fifth studio album, 1973. Don't know what it is. That is my number one. So that's definitely my top 50 for sure. And number 33, Overkill, Years of Decay. That's their fourth studio album, 1989. Man, 1989 is a good year for metal.
Wicked year.
You never really think about it, but damn, it's delivering for sure. Number 32, Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. That is their first album, 1987. And 31, AC/DC, Back in Black, their seventh album, 1980.
And I don't think you like AC/DC, do you, Stacia?
I hate AC/DC. I also hate Guns N' Roses. I'm sorry to everybody listening. I hate AC/DC. I hate Guns N' Roses. I feel really strongly about it, but I'm happy for all of you that you like them.
Well, actually, I like AC/DC for Back in Black, but because I like Bon Scott better than Brian Johnson, so I didn't have Back in Black on my list. So
when I was in university, really was trying to model my look after Axl Rose, like young Axl Rose, and I would like wear the bandana like wrapped around my forehead. But I hate Guns N' Roses. I was just like, I kind of like the ginger dirtbag look. But yeah, I hate your band very much.
I was back in the Appetite. That's the album Appetite for Destruction, of course. I never liked it because I hated Sweet Child of Mine. Like I hated that ballad, and I hated it. But as I got older, I kind of went, oh, I guess it's not that bad. Not that song. I still don't like that song, but a few of the songs I didn't mind and stuff. So I can't say I hate Guns N' Roses, but they're not on my list either.
Well, when I remember, so I moved schools a lot. One of the new schools I went to, I found like the first boy with long hair that I could find, because that was usually like the thing I'd do. I'd be like, okay, I got to find a boy with long hair. So I found one and I was like, okay, hello, I'm in your life now. And this particular boy with long hair was, I was like, okay, well, congratulations, here I am. And tell me the music you like. And he loved Guns N' Roses. So I was like, I mean, fuck, I'll give it another try, I guess. And I remember like, because every household up north had a Guns N' Roses tape. It was just a guarantee. So I remember like putting it on and just being like, I can't do it. This sucks. I hate it. I hate it so much.
That's okay. We can hate.
Oh yeah, and he didn't take to any of the metal I liked either. So it was just a mismatch. But you know, Clody, we met wherever you are. I'm happy for you. I hope you still love Guns N' Roses.
I think that Guns N' Roses is the only album from Kay, our writer Kay, who's big into hair metal and stuff. I think that's the only one from her list that made our top 50 list. So congratulations, Kay. You helped get Guns N' Roses on our list.
We love this for you, Kay.
Okay, so now we'll go back to Jim with 30 to 21.
Awesome. So 30, I mean, one of my favorite albums, and was in my top 50. Slayer, Seasons in the Abyss. I mean, 1990, their fifth studio album. This is where it probably would be their Black album, but it was really good compared to the Black album for Metallica. So this was really much better, and I loved it, and it's a great album. The 29, Judas Priest, British Steel, 1980. I mean, Priest, British Steel. It's a wicked album. Number 28. I can't believe this is so far down the list because it's in my top 50, and I've said this on some of the other podcasts where it will fall. Metallica, Kill 'Em All. I mean, this is awesome. Yeah, it's number 28.
Jim, I don't trust this list anymore because it's really high up for me.
Yeah, same with, it was really high up for me as well. Yeah. I mean, that's their 83 debut. I remember buying it at Wilco, 1980, I think it was 83 or early 84. And I just the cover blew me away. Listen to it, blew me away. 27, Sepultura, Beneath the Remains, another great album, 1989, the third studio album. So we had their fourth one at 50, and then we've got their Beneath the Remains, which is a great album, and 27. 26, this one's definitely for Stacia. I mean, we've got Motorhead, Ace of Spades, 1980, fourth studio album. So they're getting a lot. They're getting some love. Yeah, they're getting some love. They better, exactly. 25, and this one kind of blew me away too. I mean, Megadeth, Rust in Peace, 1990. It's my favorite Megadeth album. Was in my top 50. Great album. And here, Stacia's she's pull her hair out in about 2 seconds. So number 24, Venom, Black Metal.
What the hell?
I know.
24.
24.
Well, that's pretty good, isn't it?
No.
Really? No, not you know.
Well, I have something to say about this. That album, Venom Black Metal, appeared on 3 people's top 50 list. And the 3 people are us 3.
There you go.
Nobody else had it on their list, just us 3. So that's why it made it that high, because of
It
us.
should be like mandatory listening to get into the metal pit.
Exactly. It should come with like a Metal Pit welcome package, and that should be like in there.
Yes, exactly. Give me your 3-page essay on black metal.
Give me your top 20 facts.
Yeah.
It's a test before you can take part anyway.
Agreed. Where do I sign?
Number 23. And we got 3 in a row here. 23, Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind. That was in my top 50, 1983. 22, Iron Maiden, Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. That's their 7th studio album. A great album as well. And number 21, I can't believe it's this far down the line, is Iron Maiden, the debut 1980. And I agree, Stacia, Di'Anno albums are awesome. And both, they were on my list as well. So awesome.
Their first album is a perfect album. That is the kind of album, if you can't think of what to listen to, put on the first Iron Maiden album. Every song is so good. And it opens with such a face-melting banger. It ends with such a face-melting banger. Such a good album. And people say the same thing to me about Di'Anno that they do about Kronos. Oh, do you know he's a huge asshole? I don't really care.
No.
It's such a good album. Why would you want to take joy away from me? Man. I'm still really thrown by Kill 'Em All being that low down the list. That's something I'm kind of still reeling from.
I know, and Venom, but it's only the 3 of us who put it on our list, so that I guess makes sense.
This is a good group, though. The 3 of us are we're a good trio.
See, that's why it mattered where you ranked the album too. So I know Stacia will get to where she ranked it later, but so it helps how high we rank it. So at least it got to this point, because if it wasn't for, like I say, wouldn't even have made it if it wasn't for us 3. So
yeah,
so the really funny thing, I love Judas Priest so much. I think there was 4 or 5 Judas Priest albums alone on my top 50.
Cool.
But British Steel is my least favorite Judas Priest album. Which is something that everybody's like, wow, really? I swear it's just not my favorite. But I'm so with you, Jim. Rust in Peace is my favorite Megadeth album for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll go to speaking of Judas Priest, we'll go to number 20.
All right. So interestingly, number 20 is another Iron Maiden album.
Wow.
And it's is that 4 in a row or 3 in a row?
I mixed up. I have my notes wrong. Sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
So that's their 6th studio album, Somewhere in Time, from 1986. And number 19, Defenders of the Faith. What a good album. So that's Judas Priest's 9th studio album, 1984. Imagine 9 albums down the road, still ripping out an album this good. I love Defenders of the Faith.
And this that might be the latest album of a band that made it on the list, it's their 9th studio album. I don't because usually we're getting early albums, right? 1 to 4 or 5 or whatever. So that could be one of the latest albums in a catalog that made the top 50 list.
I was trying to remember, but Back in Black was the 7th. Yeah. Well, it just goes to show you, Judas Priest kicks ass and they do it consistently.
Yes.
Number 18, Rainbow. Their 2nd studio album, Rising, from 1976.
Yes.
Yeah. And then number 17, Deep Purple, Machine Head, 1972. That's their 6th studio album. I saw them with Judas Priest.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. That was a great show. And shocker, hold on to your hats, number 16, more Iron Maiden. If you thought the Metal Pit loved Exodus, wait till you see how we feel about Iron Maiden. So that is Power Slave, which I do really like. That's probably like my fourth favorite Iron Maiden album, but it is the Metal Pit's 16th favorite overall, and that's their fifth album, 1984. Wow. Number 15, I honestly can't. I'm really surprised this isn't in the top 10. Actually, Black Sabbath, Paranoid, their second album, 1970. And number 14, you know what? I do feel like this should be higher, but I'm really grateful. 14 is still a great ranking. Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah. Their second studio album. Oh, and fun fact about Don't Break the Oath, this is Corpse Grinder, the singer of Cannibal Corpse's favorite metal album of all time.
Cool.
Yeah, fun fact, tell you that much for free. And then number 13. All right, Motorhead's Overkill. That's their second album. Yes. So that was 1979, and another one of the best albums written by human beings ever.
And we did a podcast on that, the three of us, didn't we?
We did, yeah. Was it the three of us?
I think it was it?
Yeah.
No, was it really?
Yeah.
Us three.
Yeah, it was us three.
I remember the
only Motorhead one we've done.
Yeah, because I know we did Motorhead.
Yes. This is the one we did, Overkill.
Yeah.
And we've only did one Motorhead album so far, so you don't believe me?
No. I was still thinking about Don't Break the Oath. Because we did Don't Break the Oath.
Stacia, you were talking about how much every song was about sex, remember?
It is.
Well, Don't Break the Oath, you did, right, Stacia?
Yeah, well, I
mean, you did that. Yeah.
Yes, we did that. But I'm going to tell you why I got confused. This is a really fantastic King Diamond sandwich. So we had 14 Don't Break the Oath, 13 Overkill, and number 12 is King Diamond's Abigail. So the second album from solo King Diamond. So it's just a whirlwind of amazing metal all in one tiny chunk. And then number 11, Anthrax, Among the Living, their third studio album from 1987.
Oh, that's 11. Yes.
That is 11.
Wow.
So now we're down to our last 10. Now,
so Jim, I swear I remember the Motorhead one. I really thought we were thinking of Don't Break the Oath, and I was like, I feel like Jim wasn't on Don't Break the Oath. But yeah, I will never forget our Motorhead podcast, because I remember just being like, I'm really sorry to break it to everybody that this is so often about Lemmy just trying to have sex with people.
So we have 10 left. Now, of course, you guys have been listening to each other talk. I know what the top 10 are, obviously, and you two don't because I didn't tell you what they are. But I'm sure you have some guesses in your mind of what's going to be coming up here. Yeah, so maybe when we get to the last 5, I'll make you two make a choice to see what you think the number 1 is.
Ooh, okay.
It's not your number 1, which I guess it isn't. Well, I don't know. I don't think we've got Jim's number. I forget.
No, my number 1's already been said.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get.
So is mine.
So number 10, we have Metallica with And Justice for All from 1988, their 4th studio album. Any thoughts on Justice for All?
It's a great album, but we need to turn up the bass. That needs a remaster big time. I'm sorry. And I know it's Jason's favorite Metallica album. I know it is, but it's like, it would be my 4th favorite Metallica album, I think. But I love the album. I just wish they'd turn up the bass on it.
I agree that it's also my 4th favorite Metallica album.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Going Kill 'Em All, Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, and then And Justice for All.
It would also be my 4th favorite Metallica album. So there you go.
Solid number 4.
Okay, so number 9, we got Judas Priest with Screaming for Vengeance from 1982, their 8th studio album.
Such a good album. Such a good album.
Yeah, that was my 17. So, but that's a wicked album. I mean, it's legendary.
It gets so hard, right? Like your own top 50.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you wrote it on a different day or a different season, it's going to be all over the place.
Now, I made a note earlier about how there was Judas Priest's 9th studio album was the highest that we've seen in a catalog. But now this next album is the 12th studio album from a band. Anybody have any guesses who it is?
The 12th
Yes.
album. My God. I couldn't guess. Oh, maybe no. Oh,
Give you a hint. It was
Yeah.
also the same group that had the 9th studio album. It's Judas Priest.
Judas
Oh.
Priest. Okay.
And it's Painkiller, and their 1990
Ah,
Painkiller.
That's that's my favorite Judas Priest album. That should have been my guess. That's easily my favorite Judas Priest album.
But
Such a good
Turbo
one.
did not make the list, so. Okay, number 7 is Metallica again with Ride the Lightning from 1984, their second studio album. And this is personally my favorite Metallica album is Ride the Lightning.
There's a popular TikTok, YouTube, or it's like a video that gets shared. It's something called a stitch. I don't know if you guys like know what that is. It's when you have the beginning of a video, but then someone cuts the video to like
yes.
answer it. So there's this one person who does a lot of how to get like guys to interact with girls or something. And the girl opens up the video and she's like, I know a sound that all men love. And it stitches to a guy just playing Creeping Death. I was like, this is amazing. It was just like one of my favorite things to watch. It's just like some skid sitting alone in his basement, just ripping that riff.
Okay, and a number 6 album. I'm actually surprised this is up so high, but it's Megadeth with Peace Sells, but Who's Buying? Their
That's
second
a great album.
album, 1986.
I would maybe switch. I like it'd be my second favorite.
Same here.
Yeah.
It is my
For sure.
favorite Death album. I just didn't think it would be this high on the total list. But so we have 5 left. You have any guesses on what the number 1 album is? Before
Master of Puppets.
Okay,
Heaven
Jim.
and Hell, Black Sabbath.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I could guess, but I already know the
Number
answer,
1.
so I guess I won't.
Yeah,
I
don't
feel
guess.
with this
Okay.
crowd, definitely Master of Puppets is at least going to be like super high up there.
Okay, well, number 5, we have Ronnie James Dio with his debut solo album, Holy Diver,
Oh,
93.
that was definitely on mine.
That was
My
number
list.
6 for me.
That
It's
was
such a
on
good
a lot of
album.
list. That was actually on 9 people had that on their top 50.
Nice.
This is a good group.
Yeah.
And number 4 is also Ronnie James Dio singing, but it's Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell.
Yeah.
Yes.
9th studio album from 1980.
Amazing.
And number 3, which I did a podcast with Jim and maybe Billy on this one, but we have Slayer with Rain and Blood from 1986. Their third, is that their third studio album?
Rain and Blood, Show No Mercy, Hell Awaits, and Rain and Blood. Yeah.
Is that right? Okay, I thought that was a little later, but anyway, so yes, Rain and Blood is there, even though it didn't make my list, so it definitely made a lot of other people's lists.
Oh, it's on mine.
Yeah. If you listen to the podcast, I don't really like it that much. So what do I know?
Well, I actually like South of Heaven better. South of Heaven was my favorite Slayer album.
Okay, we got 2 left. Okay, so Stacia predicted Master of Puppets. So there's one other one that hasn't been mentioned yet. Do you know what the other one might be? If Master of Puppets is one of the 2, but
Okay, let's see. We've got the classic Maiden. We've got the classic Priest. We've got Rain and Blood by Slayer. I don't feel
Yeah.
like there's other Slayer, but I don't feel like everybody else likes Show No Mercy as much as I do.
That's a wicked album.
Oh, it's my favorite one.
Yeah.
But I love Hell Awaits as well.
well, when you hear the other one, you'll just go, "Oh, you forgot." So-
100%. I know that about myself.
Okay, so number 2 is Metallica with Master of Puppets
Yeah.
from
I'm
1986.
proud of myself for that one.
Their third studio album. And the number 1 album, as voted by the Metal Pit writers, this album appeared on 9 people's list also, but a little higher than Holy Diver did. It's Iron Maiden with The Number of the Beast.
Oh, Number of the Beast.
Oh, forgot about that one. Yeah,
That's
and I
so
had it.
stupid.
That's my number. That's my number 15. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It's funny because we went on about the first two, and then when you talk about Power Slave, I was like, oh, that's my fourth favorite. My third favorite is Number of the Beast.
So
You're
yeah,
right.
that's
You're right.
it. The
I
Number
am
of the Beast
frustrated at myself.
is the number 1 album as voted, I guess you could say, by the Metal Pit writers. Now, I just wanted a couple things there. Yeah, I got 12 lists to do, the 12 top 50 lists to do this. And I said already, Number of the Beast appeared on 9 of the 12 lists, as did Holy Diver, but Number of the Beast would have been higher on the list. Master of Puppets appeared on 7 people's lists. Iron Maiden had 9 different albums on everybody's list. So there was 9 different Iron Maiden albums that were included. Now, they didn't all make the top 50, of course, but they were mentioned. And there was 10 debut albums in our top 50.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of bands start out really strong.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
it's okay. So now we just did a top 50 list. So, but we're still going to do top 10 lists because I want to hear since us 3 are here, we're going to hear each of our top 10 albums. I guess I'll let you do that first, and then I'll give every writer's top album that they gave me. So we'll start with Jim. You want to do your top 10 that you had on your list?
I'm gonna start at 11 because Voivod, Dimension Had Frost. Voivod didn't get any love, so I'm going with 11.
That's fair.
Sorry,
Get
guys.
Voivod in there.
Yeah,
no,
that's right.
I respect. That's the right decision.
Thanks. And I like to break the rules. But number 10, Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell for me. These are all classic albums, obviously. Number 9, Iron Maiden's Mind for me was a big album. Number 8, Metallica, Ride the Lightning. Number 7, Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath. I mean, I love King Diamond. I love Merciful Fate. And Abigail, I had Abigail on here. I had them on here. I had Melissa on here. So, lots of love for King Diamond and Merciful Fate.
I think I had all of those as well.
Number 6, it's just, how can you not? Number 6, Dio, Holy Diver. Number 5, Black Sabbath, Paranoid. And, Stacia said, I can't believe that's not higher up. Either could I. And then I went into sort of
album.
Totally. And then I went into sort of passionate a little bit because I'm a passionate guy. What can I say? Number 4, I love Saxon. So I picked Saxon Crusader, my favorite Saxon.
I love Saxon.
Oh, wicked.
I love, also in my car.
Nice. And then Judas Priest, but my favorite Judas Priest album of all time is Sin After Sin, 1977. Love that album.
Whoa,
and I told the story before. I went to go buy a stack of albums in 1980 at a flea market. And I was buying Saturday Night Fever, the double album, at a flea market for $2, and stuffed inside the sleeve was Judas Priest Sin After Sin. So it turned me into a metalhead. So I got to give it some love. It's a wicked story. You can't even write that.
No, it's true. And also, I feel like that's not an album that gets talked about enough.
Exactly. Number 2, Iron Maiden, Power Slave. My first live concert. Saw them with Twisted Sister opening in 1983. I was only a youngling at that time. And number 1, Metallica, Kill 'Em All.
Yes! Such a good album!
Exactly.
Okay, Jim, what's your favorite song, do you think, on Kill 'Em All?
Oh my God. I like Phantom Lord. I like how dark it is. And I like the fact that it doesn't get a lot of love. But I mean, I love the whole album, but Phantom Lord's probably my favorite. And Jump in the Fire, I've got the album 12-inch single for it. I bought it when it came out. So that's another one that I love as well. So
yeah. I think Motor Breath is my favorite. It's like the most
wicked.
It's such a good one. So September was my 2-year guitar anniversary, and that was the song I learned for my 2-year guitar anniversary.
Oh, cool.
I also learned Jump in the Fire, but Motor Breath I think is just more fun to play because it's obnoxiously fast.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, actually, it's all obnoxiously fast, and I love like that, the sound they had back then with Kill 'Em All was they were, and I know this how this is gonna sound coming from me, but it's just true. And facts are facts. They were like such a like Venom inspired band back then.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was their first tour because Kronos saw footage of them. Like someone sent Kronos footage of like, look at these shit heels in America, and they're all wearing Venom shirts, and they were, you know, Whiplash. That song, Kronos was like, "That's my fucking song. It's Witching Hour. It's literally Witching Hour."
Exactly.
They took my riff, and I guess yeah, Kronos was like, I mean, if they're gonna copy us, we might as well take them on tour, and that was like their big tour. And one of my big books on Venom, there's like interviews with Kronos talking about the tour, and he was talking about how like Lars just like called the shots. And it's funny because when you look at pictures, Jim, I got to send you some. I'll like take pictures of my book, but it's like they're all babies. It's like a bunch of 14, and it literally like, especially because Venom was maybe a couple of years older, it looked kind of like if you see kids and you're like, okay, you can go, but take your little brother with you. And like that was like Venom with Metallica for that Kill 'Em All tour. But I was like, this is just so fantastic. And Venom was really good at I mean, even around Show No Mercy, that's when Slayer was touring with them.
Exactly.
So we have just the best shit coming out at that exact time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, nobody asked, but Whiplash is my favorite song on that album.
Sorry, I went on a rant, but I'm really glad. No, I'm so Blake, next time you listen to Whiplash, listen to Witching Hour.
Well, yeah, I need to listen. I need to refresh my memory on Witching Hour to see if you're right.
Do the side by side.
That's right.
I will.
Whiplash is a really good. Honestly though, I feel like that album is so, it's all killer no filler. There's not a song on there I don't like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, Stacia, give us your top 10 then.
All right. Sorry, I really derailed us. So because there's been precedent and Jim did it, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to start at 11 because my 11th band also didn't get any love on here, but I'm also not surprised because it's Bathory, their first album, Bathory. Such a good one. Yeah. My number 10 is Iron Maiden. Number 9, Slayer, Show No Mercy, another album that's all killer, no filler. You can listen all the way through. Number 8, to no surprises whatsoever, Motorhead, 1916.
Wicked album.
And number 7, Metallica, Kill 'Em All. Number 6, an album that I think is one of the most perfect black metal albums ever. And it's one of those albums that I want to do someday, like with someone, if someone else is really into Cradle of Filth, The Principle of Evil Made Flesh, because it doesn't sound like any of their later albums, and it's so good. And number 5, Judas Priest, Painkiller.
Nice.
Solid classic album. Number 4, Cannibal Corpse, Gore Obsessed, because that was one of the first I ever heard. I think it was the second one I ever heard, but that album shaped what I look for in metal for a really long time.
Cool.
Number 3, and I did definitely double up a little bit, but it's just true. Another Motorhead album, Overkill.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So number 2 is Welcome to Hell, Venom. And number 1 is black metal, Venom.
Wicked.
I think you like Venom.
Surprise of no one. Yeah, maybe just a little.
Okay,
That's
so now I'll do my top 10. Should I start with my number 11? I guess might as
Yeah.
well. Everybody else
It has
did.
to be 11. It has to be 11.
This didn't get any love from, I don't know. I don't think anybody else even put this on their list. So, and I don't know what year this is because I don't have this written down for this, but Montrose album Montrose album called Montrose with Sammy Hagar on vocals.
Right.
Like the only thing I really like, but with Sammy Hagar.
Sammy Hagar.
But yeah, that's my number 11. I love that album.
Bless his heart.
Number 10 is going to upset Jason when he listens to this, but sorry, it's Faith No More and their album King for a Day. As I love Faith No More, and I'm sorry, but they're on my list. So sorry, Jason.
I hear
He doesn't like it?
No, he did. Well, I don't. Well, he doesn't. He does. He's surprised that I like them so much. I don't know if
Their live show, I hear, is pretty wacky. I
I've
feel
only
like
seen
seeing
them
them live
once.
is a
I saw them
spectacle.
once. They opened for Guns N' Roses and Metallica, actually.
Oh, that's
And
right.
that's the
Yes.
only time I've seen them. And, it probably would only been 30 minutes of time that they would have got.
Yeah, the
I feel like
Epic
that would have
album.
been that's like a rough night. Like Stacia, you get to see Metallica, but you have to sit through Guns N' Roses.
Well, I think it was Guns N' Roses was last. So you could have watched Faith No More and Metallica, and then you could have left.
I get to watch Metallica and go to bed early. That sounds like the best night ever.
You could beat the
Stacia
traffic.
beats the traffic.
Yeah.
It was at the CNE when they used to have the concerts at the CNE in Toronto.
Fantastic.
Okay, where was I? Okay, now number 9, I have Venom, black metal.
Nice.
I
Yay!
better fit in with Stacia there. Number 8, I have a few old bands here, like I had Montrose there. Number 8, I got Led Zeppelin with Physical Graffiti.
Oh,
I had that above 4.
Glad
Number
Zeppelin made our list.
number 7, I got Trouble. Anybody know Trouble? The doom metal band Trouble. I have Manic Frustration album. I don't have the years written down here. Number 6, I got Deep Purple, Machine Head. Number 5, I have Dream Theater with Images and Words.
Yeah, that's their best album.
Number 4, again, I'm sorry, but I have Faith No More again with Angel Dust, their album Angel Dust.
That's a good album.
And now the top 3, I think we're in like the top 5 of our overall list. But I got number 3, I got Metallica, Master of Puppets. Number 2, I got Metallica, Ride the Lightning. And number 1, I got Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. So, and I didn't cheat. I didn't, even though that's my number 1, but I didn't cheat and make that number 1 just because I picked it. Just worked out.
I just kind of like that you also had a top 10 with like duplicate artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean, you could have had 7 Venom albums in there if you wanted to.
Would have sounded about right. Yeah.
You could have threw At War with Satan in there too if you wanted to.
Yep.
Okay, so let me read off the other writers' number 1 album just so we can see what they were. First, we got Billy. His was Metallica's And Justice for All. And Jason's was Metallica, Justice for All. So it was number 1 on 2 people's list, which is why I think so high here.
A number 4 for all of us.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, number 4 in the Metallica. Yeah. But anyway, let's see. Kenneth, he had Anthrax Among the Living. That's why it got such a big boost, because he had it number 1. And let's see, our writer Dennis with 1 N from Spain. He's a pretty new writer to the team, but he has Metallica's Master of Puppets.
Cool.
And then our Dennis, which is Dennis with 2 N's. He is from the Netherlands, also new to the team, and he has Slayer's South of Heaven as his number 1.
Nice.
And we got Eric, who didn't do a top 50 list, but he gave me his number 1, and it was Iron Maiden's Power Slave. And then got Tom gave us Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell. I know he loves that album.
Oh, yeah.
We did a podcast on that one together, I think.
Yep.
Okay, and then we got Georgina gave us Judas Priest, British Steel. And Kay, I mentioned before, I think, had Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction as her number 1.
Kay, if you're listening, I'm really sorry that I don't like Guns N' Roses. I love that you love them. And if you're ever at a show, I won't be the guy standing in front of you obstructing your view. I couldn't do it anyway because I'm like 4 feet tall, but either way, I wouldn't be in your way.
I don't know if she's going to see them or she already seen them because they are on tour or something. So I'm not sure if that already happened or not. But
well, the less I go, the more space there is for you, okay?
And then Melissa gave us Iron Maiden's debut album from 1980. And Elizabeth's number 1 album was Iron Maiden's The Number of the Beast. Melissa, and that was it, I guess. And I just wanted to mention, so I wanted to end off talking about my friend Jody again, who started the Metal Pit with me. I am friends with her best friend from high school, Joanne Dixon. So I messaged her on Facebook and I asked her if she could help me in predicting what she would pick as her number 1 album. And she also sent a message to her widowed husband and asked them. So they agreed that Jody's number one album would be surprise, surprise, Iron Maiden's The Number of the Beast.
Aw.
Nice. That's
I
Well,
just-
she has
great.
great taste.
Yeah.
Very, I don't know, it was kind of touching, I thought, when I heard that. And I thought, well, that makes sense, I guess. And I just wanted to mention also, congratulations on Jody's friend Joanne, because she got married yesterday. So I hope it goes well with that. And let's see. And what else is there? Oh, okay. So, well, that's really it. Anybody have any final thoughts on this top 50 list that we did?
I mean, I guess it goes without saying, but like this whole episode is just dedicated to Jody,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Metal
Absolutely.
Queen.
Yep.
And well, we know that people like Iron Maiden and people like Metallica, people like
And
old
Exodus.
Metallica. Nothing made it after the fourth album. No Black Album on here.
No.
And a lot of
Yeah,
Judas.
the biggest takeaway is like we love Metallica and Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, but
And
like we really
Dio
love
made the
Metallica.
list three times with three different groups,
Yeah.
with Rainbow, Sabbath, and Dio. Which I just thought of that right now. Thought, oh, it's an interesting thing, I should say. So anyway, well, that's it. So thanks you guys for joining me. It was fun doing this.
Yeah,
And-
this was a really fun one.
Yeah, this was great. I mean, I was actually excited to hear because we only got our own ones we were presenting, so we didn't know what the rest of them were. So it was
Yeah.
really secretive. It was like the Oscars, kind of. I love it.
Well, I think once we did get to the top 10, we knew, well, we haven't heard Master of Puppets yet. We haven't heard about Ride.
Yeah.
We haven't heard Heaven and Hell. We haven't heard The Number of the Beast. But, I was surprised that, like I said, the Megadeth was up that high with Peace Cells, even though it's my favorite Megadeth album. And nobody else,
just
and
don't
by
have
the
a
way,
lot of faith in
nobody
David
else
Bowie.
picked Faith No More on the list except me. I had 4 Faith No More albums in my top 50.
Wow. That's cool, though.
But like I said, a lot of us had ones that nobody else had.
Yeah.
Okay. So thanks for joining me. There will be no episode this Wednesday because this is Tuesday for Halloween. We did this episode today. So we're taking tomorrow off for a podcast. And we will return Wednesday, November 8th. And that will be season number 2 of the Metal Pit podcast. We're going to be doing more of the same, more albums. I think we did 36 albums this year. And I don't know the laws on seasons of podcasts, but I make my own rules. So season 2 starts on Wednesday, November 8th. And we will always, and maybe next year on our anniversary, we'll have the top 50 metal songs of all time. So start preparing.
Whoa.
Absolutely. We'll start now.
Yeah.
So thanks for
Change it a
joining
little
me.
every day.
Thanks everyone for listening. And we can't wait to give you more content in the rest of this year and next year on the Metal Pit. Thanks for listening. Good night.